So what we need to do is clear the fractions. Boys? Okay, so we need a least common denominator. So what's the LCD here when we look at the 5 and the 10? 10. Okay, I'm going to multiply this side by 10 and work the magic. And I'm going to multiply this side by 10. Okay, so when I put a parenthesis around here, it means multiply each one of these terms by 10. It's just the distributive property. All right, we've already learned the distributive property. So I'm going to distribute, I'm going to multiply 10 times 3n over 5. I'm going to multiply 10 times 1.8. And I'm going to multiply 10 times n over 5. Then I'm going to do the same thing over here. And the reason I had to multiply by 10 on both sides is because these two sides are equal. Right, they got to stay balanced. If I'm going to multiply 10 on one side, I got to multiply by 10 on the other side. So let's go ahead and write this out. So that's going to be 10 times 3n over 5 plus 10 times 1.8. And that looks like 10 point, doesn't it? Okay. Plus 10 times n over 5 equals negative 2/3. I'm going to go ahead and change that into an improper fraction to make it easier. So negative 2 times 10 is negative 23. 20 and then the 3, so that's negative 23 tenths. And I'm multiplying that times 10 also. All right, so here we go. Let's work the magic. So that's like 10 over 1. So I can divide out this denominator of 5 with this numerator, common factor of 5. Divided out, I get a 2. But do that all the way down the line. So 10 over 1, oh, don't have to do it there because it's a decimal. 10 times 1.8 is going to be 18. Let's go ahead and write it. So that's 2 times 3n is 6n, plus 10 times 1.8 is 18, plus 10 over 1, I can divide out that common factor of 5, and I get a 2. 2 times n is 2n over 1, which is just 2n. Over here on the other side, I've got 10 over 1. I can divide out the 10, and I'm just left with negative 23 over 1, or negative 23. Everybody okay there? All right. So now, I've got this looks like one of our old equations. So what do I need to do, though, before I start solving on both sides?
Add the 6 and the 2.
Yes, like terms. So I got a 6n and a 2n. I can use the commutative property, but I'm just going to save some time and say I'm adding these two together and getting 8n, plus that 18, which is not a like term, equals negative 23. So now it's just a simple two-step equation. So I'm going to subtract 18 from both sides, or that's the same thing as adding a negative 18. Here I've got 0, and 0 plus 8n is just 8n alone. Bring down my equal sign. Negative 23 plus negative 18 is negative 41. All right, there we go. Have I done everything right so far? Okay, so now I'm going to divide both sides by 8. When I divide both sides by 8, the 8's divide out, and I get n is equal to negative 41 eighths. And I can just leave it like that. And we could go back and check it. Did I get positive 41 eighths last time?
Completely different answer.
That's right, because I left out the...
Y. Yeah. 3n over 5.
You divided by 5 over the 6 under the 3.
I forgot the 5?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, you got negative 41 over 32.
Okay, good. So now let's go back to example 3. So I got it up here. There we go. All right, so now on this one, I left out this y. So we're going to do it with the yn. I think it's going to be cleaner. All right, so we've got a 1/3 times something, and you would think, okay, let's go ahead and distribute that. Let's not. Because think of this, 1/3 times something. Don't worry about what this is yet. And then I've got 4/9 times something. And then I've got a negative 1/3. So let's clear the fractions. So I got a 3 here, I got a 9 and a 3. So what's my LCD? 3. So I'm going to, no, not 3. 9, yes. We got to get the greatest common denominator. So I'm going to multiply this side by 9, and I'm going to multiply this side by 9. Okay, now, this is considered one term, because I just want to multiply this 9 times this whole thing that's multiplied, so I can clear this. So I'm going to go 9 times this whole thing, and then I'm going to go 9 times, I'm going to change that to plus negative 4/9 so we don't get caught by that negative. And then I'll do 9 times negative 1/3. So let's rewrite that. So now I've got 9 times this term right here, 1/3 times 2y plus 3. Then plus, I'm going to go 9 times negative 4/9 y, that's where I left the y off, equals negative 1/3 times 9 over 1. So now let's work the magic. So 9 over 1, I can divide out this 3, divide a 3 out of 9, and I get 3. So now here's what I'm left with just here. I've got 3 times 2y plus 3, which is a lot cleaner. Plus, now I'm putting 9 over 1. The 9s divide out of the numerator and denominator, common factors. So when I'm multiplying by this 1, I still just have negative 4 in the y. Equals, divide out of 3, divide out a common factor of 3, and I get 3. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. Did somebody get that? Okay, so now I have posted attendance. Okay, so now I'm going to use distributive property. Multiply 3 times 2y. Tell them we're filming and I'll call them right back. Okay, unless it's emergency. Is it emergency? Nobody there? Okay, so 3 times 2y is 6y, plus 3 times 3 is 9, plus negative 4y equals negative 3. All right, everybody with me there? All right, so all I did was distributive property with the 3. And now I'm going to combine like terms. So I got 6y and negative 4y. So 6 positives, 4 negatives. That's going to be 2 positives left over. So 2y plus 9 equals negative 3. Now I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides. And that's going to be 0. So 2y and 0 is 2y equals, remember that's adding negative 9, so that's negative 12. And then when I divide both sides by 2, I get y equals negative 6. Negative 12 divided by 2. All right, you can cut it.